up, everyone? I'm Joe the Host. I am the host of Beyond the Woodline, and tonight I have with me a special co-host, Adam Begin. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
What is going on, my friends? What's going on, man? What's a good word?
Nothing, man. Shit, I just wanted to catch up with you, man. And I was like, I got so many shows coming up. I said, I need to get some help here, and somebody help me out, so I don't get worn
Yeah,
out. And you're one of the
yeah.
first
You
guys
know, you know, I
I
love
thought
that,
about,
brother.
man. Yeah, and you're one of the first guys I thought about. You and Big Dog, of course. Um, and if anyone's not following Adam, you need to follow Adam, man. He's got the best freaking content. He's got the great
Trying.
pictures of all his travels and just everywhere he goes, man. He takes some great pictures of whether it's cemeteries, churches, whatever.
Murder sites, movie sites, murder victim. The thing is, and I want to get into our guests real quick, and I appreciate I love being on the show. And as soon as you said you had a cryptid, I go, oh man, I got to go on. But you know me, man. I don't stay put. I know I'm fairly new friends with Ryan, and he'll see it. But I've got my YouTube channel, Adam the Historian Ghost Hunter, and that's where I go to like vampire graves in West Virginia, and H.H. Holmes, America's first documented serial killer's grave. I've looked for mermaids in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I've been to the Bridgewater Triangle. I've just like our friend here. I never stop. To me, life's so full of little pissant bullshit and the news. I just assume, besides wrestling, which is my only really kind of cheesy thing I do, I'm out looking. I'm looking for places where movies were filmed, like The Exorcist and shit like that. I'm looking for where murder victims are buried. I'm looking for where people were murdered, where gangsters were, where the first hamburger was invented in New Haven, Connecticut at Lou's Lunch, 1898. Went there, got a burger. I went to Sleepy Hollow last month. So now I got heat exhaustion. I got heat rash all over me. I've been kind of going too hard, doing a lot of Stephen King sites in Bangor, filming sites, Pet Cemetery where he shot that when he dug up Gage. And it's 98 here in Maine, so my blood's too thick for Nevada. So I've been laying low a couple weeks, but I appreciate the shout out. But anyway, fucking Ryan, dude.
Yeah.
This dude's amazing.
Yeah,
let's jump right into it.
Yeah, man, let's just get into it. Ryan Paul Tremblay, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing today?
Yeah, man, we're doing great, man. Thanks for coming on the
Ryan.
show, man.
Hey, my pleasure, man.
Like I said, I hope you enjoy Adam. He's a great guy. You can probably tell that already, man.
Oh yeah, I can tell, man. I like his enthusiasm.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Once you start following him, you're gonna get so enthralled with everything he does.
There's no cocaine, man. I smoke weed and I got ADHD and I embrace it and I just fucking go until I'm dead.
Hey, man, that's how you do it, brother. That's how you do it.
Brian Bohall says, "What's up to everybody?" And Shannon Rogers and Heather. I shared the hell out of this thing last couple hours. Brian's cool. He does a lot of stuff. So, man, I got to jump right into it. I'm going to steal Joe's show and jump right into it. Ryan, you've been into Bigfoot and all that shit, dude, forever, right? You're a New England boy like me. We're talking Young Gun, though. I mean, what turned you on? Was it Godzilla and everything? Really? That was it? Movie monsters?
Yeah, actually, what happened is I watched Toho's Half Human. And if you've never seen that movie, I highly recommend you see that movie. It's about the Yeti, and so I saw that movie and I was like, God, that is such a cool monster. And I have an older brother who's also a monster fan like I am. So he showed me the Patterson Gimlin film. And ever since I saw the PG film, dude, I was just hooked.
Hooked, yes.
So I started looking up, Bigfoot stuff all in the library, the local library at my school. I started looking at the books there and they didn't really have too much. So I started going to the libraries in town and started reading as much stuff as I could. And I learned of the Bigfoot, Jersey Devil, Mothman. And then I heard of Dover Demon. There you go. I heard of Dover Demon. I'm like, oh my God, it's a homegrown monster. So I started looking into that thing. And it blossomed, dude. I just started loving all kinds of monsters, everything. You name it, aliens, werewolves, anything that was a monster. I'm like, yes, I had to look into it.
Mythical, even like that's what I know. Joe's got big footprints and shit, right? Joe, you got some cast.
Yeah, he was showing me.
Bob Gimlin from Patterson the Gimlin film. Bob Gimlin.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow,
he's an Astro Cat, man.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I that's the same thing with me, especially in Maine. We always knew Bigfoot, and of course, Native Americans, Wendigo, and then of course Nessie is like probably big and famous. But then you start learning about, like you say, like the Jersey Devil and the Mothman and the Backwoods Monster and the Beast of Bray Road. One of my faves, and you know all about that. I saw you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Dogman was actually something that for a while, dude, I didn't believe in the Dogman and the Beast of Bray Road. I would get stories about somebody running into a bipedal canine, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. How can a canine walk on two legs? But then what happened And I think this was the universe's way of kind of laughing at me, is I had my own Dogman encounter where I live in Arizona.
Whoa.
So, you know, when you see something like this, when you see it firsthand and you're looking right at it and it's looking at you, you don't have any choice but to actually believe in it. You know, you're going, okay, I was wrong. These things are real. I need to start looking into this stuff. So Dogman really became a big obsession for me, dude. It just led into so many other things. It branched off this way, that way, that way, that way. And here I am nowadays. Yeah.
And you were face to smell with this beast.
If you don't mind, what happened in that encounter? What was going on?
Okay, well, I'll go into the whole story so everybody kind of gets the layout. My friend and his wife had gone away on vacation, and they own a house here, right? So, being the friend that I was, they asked me to do checkups on their house, make sure there's no vagrants on property, no coyotes or anything like that. So I would go and I would do checkups morning, afternoon, and night. And one night, about midnight, I'd say, I was going to his backyard. I always check the backyard to make sure no one's in there. I heard some commotion back there. And at first, it clicked in my brain going, well, maybe this is like a trespasser, like a vagrant guy, because they used to come up from the riverbed. And they would try to, hang out in his shed or his pool area. So being the guy that I was, I heard the noise and I'm like, hey, trying to scare off anybody out there. At first, there was no response, but then I heard footsteps. And I'm like, okay, it's a pretty ballsy guy. And so once again, I was like, hey, trying to sound even bigger than I really am.
Yeah, that's smart.
This time I was answered back with a growl. Like I heard this deep guttural growl that I could feel in my chest, man. When the growl went off, I could feel it vibrating in my chest. And I just stopped. I'm like, okay, what is that? So living in Arizona, I thought maybe, okay, mountain lion, right? But it didn't sound like a mountain lion. Yeah, and it didn't sound like a coyote either, though. And so I'm like, dude, what the hell? So I thought maybe bear, but a bear in Arizona? No, not where I live. Not likely at all. So I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm going, hey, I yell, hey again. There's another growl, and I see this thing in silhouette. And it's on all fours at first. It's hunched over, so it looks like it's trying to hide. And as I'm looking at it, it's like it's moving closer to me. But it's moving very carefully where you can tell it's like trying to gauge what I'm doing there. And as I'm staring at this thing, I'm going, what in the hell is this? What am I looking at right now? Is that a human? But I could tell from the silhouette, you could see the fur kind of sticking up. It's not a human, right? So I thought, okay, big dog. And as it got closer, the security lights behind me kicked on, and I saw the lights reflect off of its eyes, and it was giving off like this amber yellow glow. And I could see the eyes were right on me. So as I'm looking at it, it's looking right at me, and that's when it stands up.
Real quick, at height level. Also, it stood up. Oh, I was thinking there's a state, but it stood up, and then it reached your level.
Yeah, and it was taller than me. It was about 6.5 feet. I'm about 5'10" and a half, so I'm not too small. But when this thing stood up, it was like big. It was really big. And so I'm looking at it. It's looking at me. And I'm not moving because at this point, I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm not going to try to run because, with the predators, you don't want to run. It instigates a predator-prey mechanism where they're going to chase after you.
Yeah.
So as I'm watching it, I can see the ears going up, going down. And the head's kind of tilting side to side like a dog does when it's curious about you.
Trying to figure you out. What's this? Yeah.
Yeah. Then what it does is it charges forward about 3 feet. So it's a bluff charge, and it just suddenly stops and stands back up again. And it holds on to this branch that's in this tree, and he's just staring at me for a minute. And I'm frozen in place, man. I'm not moving anywhere. I'm going, if I run, I'm dead. Sure, it's not too far from the door, but it's only about 15 feet away. Okay. And I could smell this thing, dude. I could smell the musk that was giving off, this smell of like rotten meat, feces, and urine and body sweat. So with all that combined, I'm just going, oh God, don't move. You're going to die. And it's staring at me. I'm staring at it, but I'm, diverting my eyes. So I'm not staring it right in the eyes. That's the one thing you don't want to do with a predator is stare it right in the eyes. So it just stares at me for a few minutes longer and it starts backing away. So as it's backing away, I'm just watching it go, watching it go, watching it go. And I could hear twigs snapping. I could hear it kicking the rocks. And once it was far enough away, man, I was out. I suddenly had rocket boosters up my butt. I was just boom, in the house. I'm closing the windows. I'm locking the windows. I'm closing the doors. I'm locking those. I'm looking in the drawers for knives or whatever I can use.
I was saying you didn't have any weapons on you at all. Nothing either. You went out there barehanded. So you're going to fist fight a fucking dog man, dude, a human werewolf. You fucking lose.
Right. So I called up my
you're a tough bastard. I don't know, but good luck unless you're fucking Rocky Balboa. Holy shit.
Right.
But like you say, you don't look them in the eyes because that makes them think that you're one-upping them. Like you say, he bumped out. He's like, what's up? What's up? And you're just like, Smart.
Yeah.
You almost played dead in a way. Holy shit.
Right. I mean, I wasn't going to challenge this thing, man, because if it puffed up, I'd be like, okay, I would have cowered. So I'm like, yeah, no, we're not playing that game. So I called up my friend. I'm like, yo, what the hell's going on in your backyard? I just saw like a hyena like thing in your yard, dude. And he's on the phone. He's like, Ryan, there's no hyenas in Arizona, dude. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, but I saw one. So, and this thing got up on 2 legs, man. So what the hell's going on in your backyard, bro?
Wow.
And he didn't want to believe me at first. So when he came home with his wife, sure enough, we went back to where in his backyard, and you could see the scuff marks where the claws had kicked dirt. And so he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, yo, Ryan, you saw something here, dude. And so I started looking into it, and I spoke to other people that had seen similar type dogmen, and I learned the hyena type is definitely a type of dogman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a pretty common description, too.
Yeah. And in fact, I started getting reports from people in different parts of Arizona that had seen a hyena type creature like I had. So I'm going, oh, there's something to this. So,
but they're differently like an African species. They're not really in America at all. Are they hyenas? Are they in America?
No, they're not. Although in prehistoric times, in Nevada and places like that, there was a prehistoric species of hyena, but they weren't bipedal. So, but an interesting thing to look at, though, if you look at the flora and the fauna and the temperature here in Arizona, it's very similar to Africa.
Right.
Makes sense.
So if these things started in Africa, it's possible that they came over here. And they could acclimate extremely well because the weather and everything around it is very similar to where they started.
Yeah. Brian asked with sniffing. Could you hear sniffing or breathing? Or
Yeah, I could hear its teeth going snap, snap, and like you could see the jaw kind of, going like this.
I wonder if he was full and he didn't need you. Because you know what I mean? I wonder if you said he smelled like food, like rotten food. Maybe he just ate a carcass. I mean, they don't exactly shower.
It's possible, but like I spoke to my brother. He's a hunter who has tons of dogs. And when I told him about the chattering of the jaws, he's like, well, it was kind of nervous then because dogs do that when they're nervous or excited.
Oh, like humans kind of do.
Right. So with my small body, I was somehow making it nervous. And I'm like, why would it be nervous? It could have pounced on me from 15 feet.
The loud, hey, you making your voice bigger. That's what scares bears away. That's why they're scared of little dogs. Oh, they don't like big noise. Mm-hmm. I think he's probably like, what the fuck? He's small, but he's fucking loud. And 5'10's not really small. 5'8's really average. 5'10's actually kind of big.
Yeah.
But for him to be higher than you, fuck.
Also,
when he stood up, you could hear, I don't know if it was his feet or his hips that made that really loud pop noise. It sounded like, and I'm like, whoa, Jesus.
Yeah, and that's pretty common too. People hear that.
Yeah.
And that's in Joe's area, right? Joe, you're in Texas, Arizona, right? New Mexico area?
Well, I'm in Texas. I'm a long way from Arizona.
Well, not too far.
You went to Roswell and shit, though,
yeah. 3 hours or so, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, also, I think other animals see us as predators. So predators usually avoid other predators anyway, even in a fight. Right. If they can take them because they don't want to get hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Well, think about it too. Out of all the animals, we're the only ones that smell like Axe cologne and weed and fucking old pizza. Like, what the fuck is all this weird smell? We were fucking like aliens. A regular hyena would see you and think you smell like a Walmart. They go, "What the fuck is that?" They wouldn't have a clue. You don't smell like a giraffe, man. We don't fit in, and that's why these things target us. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I got to ask Ryan because I asked Joe before because Joe's been on my show. I've been on his. I do my own show, which I'd love to have you on. Historically Haunted show and Historically Haunted podcast. I'm not going to steal. I'm telling Joe I'm going to steal your guest. No, just kidding. But I mean, maybe down the road have you on. But I got to ask, do you think there's a connection between beasts and aliens? Like, I've heard that people think Bigfoot is the former us and aliens are the future us, and we're kind of in the middle.
I think there could be. I mean, a lot of people do talk about that, and I have spoken to people, and I've seen other encounters with people where they've seen like a UFO in the same area. They see a Bigfoot or a Dogman. Like they see the Bigfoot first or the
Joe
UFO.
Said that last time. Remember, Joe? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So why not, right? I mean, do you believe in? You must do paranormal too. I mean, you into ghosts and witches and type shit too, or just cryptids?
Ghosts not so much, but I mean, I do delve into the supernatural and the paranormal in the sense that I study the Wendigo and the Yinatadushi, the skinwalkers. And when you look into those two topics right there, you absolutely cannot ignore the paranormal.
Yeah.
You believe that, Joe? You agree?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I know Joe's all about all that shit too. I mean, obviously, Beyond the Woodline can go anywhere, and I like to be open. And when I say I'm in the paranormal field, I'm in everything from Bigfoot's fucking smells like Bigfoot's dick. What's that movie? Anchorman when he had the cologne on. I'm everything from Bigfoot to fucking E.T. to Poltergeist. It's all good. Yeah, so I got to ask you, what's your personal favorite cryptid besides Bigfoot?
Oh God, like I love so many of them. I love the Gugwi, the Genosqua. But I think the Yinaralushi and the Wendigo are really my favorites nowadays.
That's cool. The Ohio Gas Man. And one of my favorites is because I like this band called Acid Witch. It's like a slow stoner band, and they sing about Halloween every time. But they're from Detroit, and they sing about this someone maybe you know. A lot of people don't know. The Nain Rouge. He's celebrating Detroit, a little red devil, and he comes out because he's like destruction. Yes, he's like a little red dwarf. Nain means dwarf, and Rouge means red dwarf. And they sing a song about him, how he's seen when destruction is like the Mothman was when the bridge collapsed. So you're into him?
Kind of like a Omen. Yeah.
Yes. They have a festival every year. They all dress like red little devils and walk on the street.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty wild how culture, like in Exeter, New Hampshire, we have the UFO Festival, September 7th. I love how culture takes these things and just we love our lores, I think. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. You can find a monster in every state.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think everyone every state or every region kind of embraces that, and that's pretty cool.
I just want to answer Brian's question real quick. I actually there's quite a few reports of dogmen in Arizona, and it's really interesting because it's not just the hyena type, but it's the wolf type that I get too. In fact, Tucson has quite a few. There's a place in Tucson called Miracle Mile. And if you don't know what Miracle Mile is, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, that place was known for its prostitutes. So a lot of reports of dogmen come from a stretch of road on Miracle Mile and Roller Coaster Road. So there's a lot more than people think.
Is that by Route 66 at all?
No.
I'll have to Google that, my friend. That's pretty fucking wild. So this thing breeds, which is weird because if he can be seen in Arizona, people see the Dogman in Michigan and Maine. So I guess he can be in all types of habitats. Or do you think this is a difference? So. Like, is there a wolfman, dogman, werewolf? Is there certain types of dogmen? You think?
I think there's different variations that we're seeing. And I think these different variations have acclimated to where they're being seen the most. And I kind of believe that they follow their creeks, like Lyle Blackburn will tell you, that they follow the creeks. So I think they follow the riverbeds. And I think if they find a place that's suitable for them to live that has prey and water or even vegetation for all we know, then they'll take up residence there.
Yeah, that was actually a line from the Legend of Boggy Creek. They always follow the waterways. Yeah.
Just like the natives did. That's where all the colonies were, the Native Americans, because that's where you survive. You need water to drink. Might as well stay close, Make sure you shit downstream, not upstream. But
right. And I think a lot of people are fooled into thinking that Arizona is just like that Looney Tunes desert where it's, it's flat and there's nothing but cactus and vultures. But it's not really like that. It's really not. We have, the Mogollon Rim where the Mogollon monster has been seen. So we do have mountain ranges that are very lush and very green. In fact, in my town right now, because of all the monsoon rain we're getting, it's more green than anybody would ever imagine. It's crazy to see.
No shit. Wow. Yeah. Honestly, I've never really been past Iowa, or I've never been to Texas. I pictured Texas and Arizona and Mexico with fucking tumbleweeds and rock hotels and but no shit. That's cool. So you've been everywhere, man. You grew up in Massachusetts. Now you're on the West Coast looking to do your thing. That's killer.
So traveling man, as Ricky Nelson would say.
I love it. Oh, Brian's back. Good question, Bree.
Do you think cryptids, alien spirits are under the same umbrella?
I think so. I think there's a connection to all of them somehow. Do we know the connection yet? Not yet, but I do think they are connected. I definitely do.
Yeah, we were talking about the Dogman. It's really big here in Texas also. And, yes, and there's actually like a place called the Hill Country, which is like between Austin and San Antonio.
Yep.
And a lot of that is really, really rocky terrain, a lot of hills, and they're seen there. So there's not a lot of what I would call brush as far as cover, but there's definitely lots of peaks and valleys and gullies and ravines for them to get down and hide. If there was one walking, you'd never see it,
Perfect.
So like in the early 1800s, right outside of San Antonio, there's a place called Converse, Texas. I used to live right next to there in a place called Universal City.
Right.
And when I was living in Universal City, I was working, and a guy, we got to talk, and he told me that there was a creature called the Converse werewolf, and it's from the 1800s. So these creatures go back probably a lot further than what we think.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's even like tales of the Native Americans encountering these things.
Right.
Some tribes call them the Shunkawarikan. They kind of, put them in the same group as the carry-off dogs. These, big creatures that used to come in and kill their dogs in their camps. Is it possible that they are the same thing? Maybe. I mean, I can't really say.
Right.
Oh.
And even like in Mexico, like where the Aztecs were at, they had what was called a lobizon. Which the Aztecs claim to have seen. And I can't remember what year the Aztecs were around, but this is back when they were building their little pyramids out there, and of course
Right.
they're not little. I've climbed those doggone things, and that'll tell you what kind of shape
that
they're in.
killer Aztecs and the Incas and all that shit. So was it cave drawings, Joe? Is that why, like the old school, like the pyramids, they always see like eyes in the sky? They think there was UFOs back in Egypt and shit. Is that what you're talking about, Joe? You saw?
Well, these are more of just folklore handed down, word of mouth.
Yep.
But
if you look at ancient Egyptians, ancient Egyptians had Anubis.
Right.
A dog-headed god. So is it because they saw something in Egypt? I like to think so.
And it's what I always
go
back to.
Shit.
Yeah.
Ryan's killer.
Yeah, I always go back whenever
ancient
civilizations talk about this stuff. Mm-hmm. How did they know to talk about it? Like we could all sit here and talk about a head, a guy with a dog's head because we see it, we're exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the ancient Egyptians talk about it, people from Samaria times talk about it. It makes you wonder what they actually saw to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they really put them all in the category of they were like deities. They were gods of some sort.
Yeah.
And I think that came from how abnormal, how unusual they really are. Because, they saw something that wasn't human. They saw something that was an animal walking upright. So they're like, oh, this is a god sent from whatever. I think that's how it became so ingrained in these different cultures.
He's right.
And Eric Gibson, the Viking, when he got here, he said that the men here were big, hairy, and smelly.
Yep. Yep.
But
before
we came on the air, we were talking, and you caught my interest with the devil monkeys. What are devil monkeys?
Oh, devil monkeys. Well, there's a lot of speculation. Some people will say they're a smaller version of Bigfoot. Other people will tell you that they're not related to Bigfoot. I don't think they are, okay? Because physical description, they look more like a very large baboon, okay? And they're hyper aggressive. Like anybody that's had an encounter with devil monkeys will tell you that they're just jerks. They're not nice guys. And they are a primate of some sort. How they got here, I don't know. Lauren Coleman's even talked about them. So, I mean, is there a chance that they exist? I think so. I think there's something definitely to this devil monkey thing. And it could have started out where maybe baboons got loose somehow in the States. And these baboons just grew and evolved. I mean, I had a report here in Arizona where a guy said he saw baboons on his ranch. That these baboons were coming down, 5 or 6 of them at a time were coming down, killing his chickens and chasing his pigs. And ranchers know animals, okay? If you know anything about ranchers in Arizona, they know the animals. They know the sounds. They know the smells. So for this guy to tell me, I saw baboons here in Arizona, I started looking into that, and I'm like, sounds like devil monkeys.
Fucking Wizard of Oz monkeys, motherfucker. The wicked witches sending them after you. Can you imagine a monkey flying at you? That's horrifying.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And like you say, dude, these guys are farm ranchers. They've seen it all. They know their animals, dude. And yeah, it's funny to get back to the animal worshiping too. People worship cows and shit. I think just if it's an odd animal at the time. But what do you guys stand? I've been dying to ask you, both of you. Where do you stand on the flying ones? The big flying birds. Aren't those seen in Texas? These pterodactyl type. Yeah.
Yeah. Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds. There we go. Yes.
Yep.
Where do you stand on that? Both
I do believe it. I believe in it. I mean, personally, I believe in it because I've been looking into the lore of the indigenous people, the different tribes. And a lot of these tribes really hold the Thunderbird as something sacred. Right. So I think there is definitely something to that.
Yeah.
Ask about the flying monkeys. Until one attacks you, dude. Monkeys are strong as fuck anyway. They get the opposable thumbs. Yeah. Then you got one flying at you and grabbing you, bringing you back to Wizard of Oz. You ain't gonna be laughing, Brian.
Dude, those flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz used to scare the crap out of me, man. I hated those things with a passion.
Oh yeah, I remember as a kid turn my back.
Oh yeah, Ashley, that's my girlfriend right there. Yep.
Oh, is it? Oh, hey, Ashley.
Ashley, what's up?
She's actually a researcher too. She specializes in
Mothman. Crazy guy here.
That's cool. Really, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's
It's my
Adam's
girl,
one.
Heather. That's my girl. She's a witchin'. She does Witchin' Life Guide show every other Wednesday on Paranormal King Radio Network. She talks about witches and Salem and how to make your days better, full moon, all that shit. So shout out to Heather Kimonini, my girl, Witchin'. She's a witch. That's what this. That's actually her symbol in the background. It's not mine. I'm at her house.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
So yeah, what's everybody's thoughts on time travel? I'll let you guys go. That's wild subject.
Time travel, I would definitely like to believe is possible. I mean, if they ever learn how to do it, please let me know. Because I'd love to travel into different parts of time, dude. I'd mess with so many things on purpose. I'd be that one jerk.
Would be your first, dude. Would be your first, Ryan.
I'd probably go back to around the time Christopher Columbus came around. That way I could just misdirect them and go go back. Nobody wants you here. So
yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Chris Columbus.
Yeah, be like, no, go back that way. Nobody wants you here, dude. We don't like you. Bye.
Keep sailing. Leave all your disease and shit. Leave all your disease in Europe.
Exactly. Yes. And yeah, Brian, they do say that. And it's funny because a lot of tribes will tell you that if settlers had listened to the tribes when they first got here, if they had just treated the tribes right and treated the land right, these cryptids wouldn't be coming out like they are.
Right.
When to go. He's sent by the African. I mean, he's in a lot of Stephen King movies in the background. Heather also asked about that documentary I watched the other day about the guy from the future. You guys check it out. The guy from 3033 is this guy that came from the future. I guess they saw him in New York. You got to watch a documentary. Long story short, he was stealing water. He stole water, and I guess he said in the future water is free. So they got him. They couldn't find any ID on him. They couldn't fingerprint him. Never came up. Couldn't find any fingerprints. The whole nine. Had to let him go. He claimed he was from the future. Oh, it fucking blew my mind. He says, "Oh yeah," he goes, "The blackout's going to happen at 2085, the big blackout for 5 years, and then that's when everything hits a fan, and then we move to Mars." And I go, "Wow!" So I don't know if he was telling the truth, but you want your mind blown? Because I guess later on he said he had a chip in his hand, and then he left the interview, and the next day, dude, the guy was found burned in a park with his left hand cut off, the chip in it, like the fucking future people found out and took his hand, so no one could prove it. That's
messed up.
Nuts. The man from 3033, dude. Yeah, he wears a mask the whole time. And he goes, "I got hair now. In the future, we don't have hair because of radiation." And he goes, my hair grew back. Because when they found him, he was completely shaved like powder. He had no eye. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Anyway. Yeah. Interesting. Check that out, man. Man from 3033.
I wrote it down.
Weird. Please do.
Nice. Yeah, if you guys ever want to talk about Mothman and stuff like that, though, check out Ashley, dude. She knows her stuff on that department.
You said you hate that guy.
Mothman talk. Ryan hates that guy. Ryan, you hate Mothman?
Yeah, he and we go back a long ways, and there were some things that were done, and we're trying to blame each other for it, and nobody really knows the real story except for me and him, and we're not telling anybody anytime soon. So
I love that.
I'll get Ashley on. We'll talk about
He's more of a Flatwoods monster guy. That's why he's cheating on him.
There you go.
Yeah, right. See, there you go.
So where do you stand on the Bridgewater Triangle, man?
That's one place that I regret. I've never been there in all my time. I learned about it after I moved out of Massachusetts, and I was so angry, dude. I was so mad. I'm like, how did I learn about this after I moved away? I am so mad right now.
Well, you come back, and I'm getting a hotel down there. We're gonna fucking go together. I'll 3-hour drive from Maine. Seriously, brother. Hell yeah. And you mentioned Lauren Coleman. I'm friends with Lauren. I met him, the Cryptozoology King. Have you ever been to International Cryptozoology Museum in Maine?
Not yet, but I know a lot of people. I know someone that actually works there. My buddy Nate Brislin actually works there, so I get to see pictures of that place. Yeah,
Nate's a good day. He's a good young shit who's got a smart brain in that head when it comes to all this stuff.
Dude. Nate is freaking brilliant, dude. I like to think of Nate as my child. So,
yeah. Oh, there's a question by Troy. What did it say? Sorry, I like to talk. There we go.
What about the little fairy you had on video from South America? That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that could be Duende. If you know what Duende are, they're Fae. They're from the Fae category, and you really want to respect the Duende. You don't mess with these guys, okay? Duende are known to actually come in and abduct children. Right. They will steal kids right from the cradle. If you don't
Krampus.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't respect them, it's like they're gonna make you pay for your disrespect.
Wow. Do I think like German folklore or is that Australian? That's not American.
The Fae, actually, the Duende and the Fae, it goes from Irish, Scottish, Celtic, Viking, even to Native Americans here in the States. So all these different people from across the world believe in something that's very, very similar. And when that happens, you got to really start looking into that, going, you know what? Maybe there's something to this. In fact, a nice little story for you guys is I saw a little person not too far off from where I had my Dogman encounter.
Okay.
It was a very, very brief encounter. I was walking with my dog Duke down in the riverbed where I take him for his river run, and we kept hearing this weird noise. It sounded like that trilling sound that the predator makes. It was similar to that, but it was more high pitched. It was much more high pitched. And I'm looking around going, okay, there's no birds here that make that. Okay, so what is making this? And we were going further and deeper in, and we kept hearing this sound over and over and over again. And as we went around the bends, like right on the embankment, there was this little person that was maybe about not even a foot and a half high. He's standing there holding a little stick, and you can see he's got rabbit furs on him and everything. And he just kind of looks at me like, oh, whatever, and just walks up the hill.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a fucking leprechaun or a little hobbit. Wow.
Yeah. And it's like this dude was kind of like looking at me, kind of talking shit, like, oh, it's just you. Whatever.
He's an angry little hobbit.
Yep.
Hey, so you mentioned leprechaun. What do you think leprechauns are? Do you think they're some kind of elemental, or do you think they're an alien?
I think they're fae. I think they're earth spirits. They're elementals that, they'll show themselves to the people that deserve to see them. I don't think they're really extraterrestrials or anything like that. I think they belong here, in their earthly origins, and they're something very, very special and very, very sacred.
Right. Yeah, because you do hear, I guess, like the UFO alien connection with them, which kind of makes sense, But I've always thought they were some kind of elemental, also.
Yeah, I think maybe extraterrestrials know of them, and maybe the ETs know that these things are more deserving and smarter than we are.
Yeah, I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I agree, Joe. Yeah.
The Wendigo. What got you involved with that? What got you interested in that subject?
That's funny with the Wendigo because I would hear a lot of different people cover the Wendigo on their channels, and they would always show depictions of this, this quadrupedal, stag-headed creature, and I'm like, is this really what the Wendigo is, or what is it? So I started looking into it more and more, and I learned that everything we thought we knew about the Wendigo, 98% of that is false. Okay, the stag-headed thing that we see, that was never ever a part of the original Algonquin Wendigo lore. A Wendigo is somebody that actually gets possessed by a spirit or an entity and slowly transforms and becomes a part of the Wendigo. And I like to tell people that there's two different aspects to the Wendigo. You have the Wendigo, which is the spirit that's all around in the wilderness, right? And then you have a Wendigo. That's when a person gets possessed by the spirit and it slowly transforms and it becomes part of the greater entity. So I started digging more and more into the Wendigo, and I found that so much that we thought we knew was false, okay? And there were cases of people allegedly becoming Wendigo. Swift Runner, the most well-known.
Holy fucking, I got to pick my jaw up off the ground. Well, it's because being in Maine, that's what we beat our drum to. I mean, we got UFOs and aliens and ghosts and shit, but really it's the Wendigo because King and up north Adirondacks and all that shit, and then Allagash, and they talk big about the natives. And what I've seen, even on the local beer, sometimes you see a caribou head with big wings. It looks like one of those Native American pole things. And
the totems.
Yeah, and it's nothing even close to that, you say. That's
No. In fact, if you were to actually look into seeing what these really looked like, they look like you and I, except, their skin is pulled very taut over their skeleton, and they start chewing their own lips. The hunger they have, the eternal hunger they have, they chew their own
Wendigo
lips.
Or the real Wendigo chews its lips?
The possessed one. So, and, they get emaciated, and they're constantly hungry. So no matter what they eat, the more they eat, the hungrier they get. But they can never satisfy that hunger.
So what does an Wendigo eat? A Wendigo eat other animals? People? I mean,
no. Wendigo want one thing. They want human flesh.
Wendigos just eat humans.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
How do you know if you've turned or someone's turned? I mean, do they morph into it? Do they fucking lose it all?
Well, there's signs. There's a lot of signs that they would say that the person that got possessed would actually know. They would know they got possessed, and they would tell you, I'm turning Wendigo.
I'm turning Wendigo. They know.
Yeah. So what they would do is the tribes would try to kind of hold this person in one place. They would usually tie them to their beds or whatever. And they actually had different methods of stopping the transformation. And some of them were very simple. Beef tallow, beef fat. they felt that heated beef fat, once you boiled it and you fed it to the person becoming a Wendigo, it would do a couple of things. It would stop the hunger, and then it would thaw out their bones and their heart, thus stopping the Wendigo from taking hold.
What a fucking trip.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But if you didn't catch it in time, though, if you let somebody become a full Wendigo, then they would attack the entire tribe. They would attack nearby towns, and you would ultimately have to kill these people. And in order to do that, you'd have to use a silver dagger and dig out their heart and
I was
burn
just gonna say,
their
it reminds me
heart
of werewolf vampire shit. Yes, I was just gonna say, it reminds me of vampire lore. Wow.
There's a lot of hybridization. What happened is the Europeans and the Germans and the Nordic interbred their tales with the Algonquin and the Cree and the Ojibwe. So that's why people think Wendigo is a werewolf or the Wendigo is a stag-headed character. The stag-headed thing comes from the Nordic tales, the Nordic legends. But the original Cree, Ojibwe, and Algonquin never said it had a stag head.
Wow. Okay. And they were here first. This is their land, really. Think about it. Vikings came over way after.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's killer. Hollywood, are you listening? Fucking man, this dude knows. I mean, I know my shit on what I know, but you're schooling this historian. Holy shit, I got my tail between my legs. I'm especially Wendigo. I took a lot of pride in the cryptid shit. I know Joe's got aliens covered and Bigfoot, but wow, we got a lot of knowledge between us three. I could talk. And you said your girlfriend does a show. She admits it Nate's your child. She says.
Yeah, she does a show called On Wednesdays We Talk Weird. You should check her out. She's fantastic.
Killer. I love that. I know my shit. I'll be a guest. I'm not. I got no shame here. I'll still promote.
Adam, she's great, man. She will school you on Mothman from beginning to end, dude. She knows so much stuff.
Oh, I gotta go to Point Pleasant so bad. Joe, you been to Point Pleasant? You ever been?
I never have, but that's on my bucket list. Maybe next year I'll go.
She goes there all the time. She'll tell you about it. She goes there all the time.
Yeah, maybe next year I'll go.
Pine Barrens, maybe New Jersey.
Yeah, there you go.
Where do you stand on the devil? You haven't talked a lot about the devil. What do you stand on Jersey? You think he's dead by now? Some say he reproduced. I mean, what do you think on him?
I think he's still there. I think the Jersey Devil is still there. It's one of the cryptids that I fell in love with. I totally fell in love with the Jersey Devil, and Ashley and I did a show on that not too long back. And I think there's something to it. I think it's more supernatural. I'm not sure the Jersey Devil would quantify as a cryptid. I think there's something very paranormal about him. But I do believe it's still out there. I really do.
Yeah, people love him. They named a hockey team after the fucking guy. I mean, that's the thing. People love their cryptids, man. That's killer. Wow, I love that shit.
As they should, man. The cryptids deserve our love, man.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Everybody thinks that, like you say, even Joe said earlier, it's all under one umbrella, right? Aliens, cryptids, paranormal, whatever, man. I love witches. I love, Gloucester, Massachusetts. They see mermaids on the coast of there.
Gloucester, Massachusetts. Heard that. Yeah, I heard that. I never saw one. I mean, I went to all the lakes and the oceans that Massachusetts was nearby. I never saw a mermaid, unfortunately. Maybe someday. I don't know.
I've got a story for you, Ryan, and I may have told you this story, Adam, but I'll tell Ryan for sure.
Okay.
I was talking to this lady. I stopped at a gas station out by the San Mesa Forest where we're going out doing our Bigfoot thing, and my friend Big Dog has this big truck, got the Yeti stickers and Bigfoot stickers all over his truck.
He does.
Right on.
No, it's a badass truck. And
it is.
I went in there to buy some ice, and the lady goes, "Hey, whose truck is that?" And I said, "That's my friend's truck." And she's like, "Well, I saw one time." And I'm like, "Really?" So she told me the story about her seeing one in, what is the Big Bear Mountains in California or Bear Mountains, California? Mm-hmm. She saw one there. She didn't know who. She thought it was just a guy. She goes, but he was about 200 feet away. She goes, he was huge. She goes, even from that distance, I was saying, man, he's a big guy. I said, if someone is 200 feet away from you, you're like, that's a big dude. He's got to be a big dude,
Right.
It's a far away, yeah.
She told me that story, and then she says, I got something else to tell you. She says, you're probably going to think I'm crazy. I said, nah, tell me anyway. So she told me she was swimming. I don't remember if she was in the Pacific or she was in a lake or whatever, but she was visiting her grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
She was swimming off this pier, and she said for years she would see this big crevice at the bottom.
Okay.
She always wanted to go down there, but it was too deep for her to go. So as she got older, she could swim a little bit deeper. So she was going down there. She almost got to the bottom, and she realized she was running out of air, and she wasn't going to be able to make it up back to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So she stopped, and she was trying to get her way back up to the top, and she said she was just about out of air, and she just said, well, this is it. This is where I'm going to die, right? Well, she saw these two hands coming in front of her face like this, and opened up, and like a big air bubble came, and she was able
Whoa.
to breathe that air bubble in, and she made it to the top.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what was that? Was that a mermaid? Was that an underwater extraterrestrial? You
A
know,
water spirit, maybe?
well, water spirit. Yeah. So
Hmm.
Wow.
That's
A choir,
intense.
a choir boy version of the Creature of the Black Lagoon. All I can see is this big merman but letting her go. That's like an underwater angel, because they say that, I guess,
Yeah.
almost like any other water creature, these mermaids, some are good or some are bad. Sirens, they call them. Some
Yeah.
can be kind of like, and some can save you. It depends on which one you get, I guess. I never
Mhm.
seen one either, unfortunately, but wow, that's a trip. Underwater lights. Oh, I've seen those. And I live on Maine, off the coast of Maine, Casco Bay, where we've seen Cassie, Casco Bay sea serpent. Kind of like, what's that one in Michigan? They have that water creature. What the fuck is it? Or is it Upper New York? Champagne,
Yeah.
Lake
Yeah.
Champlain.
Lake Champlain. Yep.
Yeah, it's something like that off Maine and stuff. And I saw these underwater lights one time, and I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't do acid, so I don't know what the fuck it was. But water is pretty crazy, Ryan. Do you venture in any water creatures? Do you do that? I mean, you say you kind of look for mermaids, but I mean,
I'm starting to get into the aquatic cryptids now, thanks to Ashley. She loves those things.
yeah.
But with a Native American lore, though, you kind of learn that water is very sacred with these things. That water holds energy. Okay,
right.
So a lot of these cryptids might actually flourish in the water because it's so powerful, and this is where they get their energies from. They might be some kind of spirits, pelaganox in a way, animal spirits, or dream spirits that they manifest themselves somehow.
Right. And any kind of spirit, really, when you think about
Wow.
it.
And a
and
really
you know,
interesting
that
side
makes-
note for you, Adam. You're in Maine. There is a Bigfoot called the Wendigo. It's spelled different than Wendigo. It's spelled with an I rather than an E. But the Wendigo
Wow.
is up in Maine. You have that in your direction. That's what I was referring to when I said Genosqua, the stone giants.
So, yeah.
Oh, fuck, guy knows more about my state than I do. I should be ashamed. I'm logging off. Let's get it. That's kill. Oh, that's good. I could probably teach you some shit and different things too. I know my history and like I said, my murder scenes, but I'm fucking, that's awesome, dude. I love when people know their shit. And you're spot on. And even Joe's always known his shit. I stole the whole fucking show from him, but
that's cool, man. I don't mind at all.
So do you follow like USOs, unidentified submerging objects? They get them off New Brunswick. These UFOs that go into the water and they don't come up for like months, and then they think there's a city underneath, like a city of Atlantis. I mean, I'm open to all that shit. You must be, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to it. I would love to see proof that there's an underwater city, and I would love to see all that stuff. I don't want to discount it. I like to think the world is really fantastical. That there's all these science fiction elements. It's all sci-fi. It's like a big sci-fi movie. I love thinking like that.
Well, we know more about the moon than we do about our own oceans. So.
This is true. This is why I keep telling everybody that I think the megalodon is still out there. It's a little fantasy I like to encourage, that the megalodon is still out there swimming around. We just haven't seen them. So,
right.
And as far as I'm concerned, until it's easier to prove. You can't prove that they don't exist, because if you don't have a dead carcass or something, like, no, they don't. People, but like Joe says, it's funny to touch back on that real quick. When I wear my ghost hunting shirts or my monster shirts, I always get that one old lady at the store going, "Oh, ooh, you like that? Oh, I like big." They always open up when they see your shirts or stickers or something. Like I'll go to restaurants with Heather. I'll go, "Is this place haunted?" Well, sometimes cups go flying. I go, "Oh, tell me more." If you treat them on, they'll tell you. And I think people see more shit than they do. They're just afraid to admit it. You guys agree to that? I think people see shit and don't want to sound crazy or sound like they want attention. They just shut up.
I think it's easier for them nowadays. I think because so many people are coming forward with their UFO encounters, their alien abductions, their ghost sightings, their cryptid sightings. I think people feel a lot more comfortable than they did, many years back. Because you're not called crazy nowadays.
No,
I agree.
So do you get that, Ryan? Do you get people who will come up to you, whether it's friends, family, strangers?
Oh, yeah. In fact, not too long ago, when I was doing my own investigation, my Dogman investigation, I had a guy that I had never met before. He actually stopped me while I was down there. It was kind of odd coming across another person where I go. It was kind of like, ooh, this seems kind of dangerous. But he wanted to talk to me because he told me, hey, you should be really careful in this area. And I'm like, well, why? What's going on, man? And he's like, well, I was here the other day and I saw a couple of things. So first thing he told me was he saw a family of what looked like bipedal hyenas. You can see where I get really interested in that, because I'm like, oh, bipedal hyenas, eh? So he saw a male, a female, and a baby. Wow. Okay, so that really caught my curiosity. But then he went on to tell me that he saw some kind of, it looked like a human being, but it was bald with really, really pale white skin, which would be a pale crawler. one of those cave dwellers. So this guy started telling me about how he saw it, how it was moving, what he watched it do, because I guess he watched it for about 10 minutes. He was in the thick bush watching this thing eat.
Did it watch him? Oh, it didn't. So it didn't see him though.
No, I didn't know it was there. He was there, but he watched it eat. Like, it was picking up, veggies and stuff and eating roots.
Wow.
And then with the canine, the hyena family, he said that he saw them eating a dead javelina, and he did show me where the body was, and there were bones left over. So
bones, not much meat. Eat it clean.
Right. Either he created one hell of a story, or he really did see this stuff. So I do get people that come up to me and say, "Hey, I know what you do, and I know you're not going to think I'm crazy. So I saw this over here, or this happened this one time to me," and they'll open up to me.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you're the monster guy of the group.
Yeah.
Oh shit, tell Ryan, you know what I mean? That's cool.
Yep.
I don't talk to my family much. They're all like family people. I'm the only one that ever got married and had kids and shit. I got a girlfriend, she got kids, but everybody else did their own thing. So I'm out doing my thing. So once in a while, especially around Halloween time, they'll send me things. Oh, here's something, and I usually know where it is already. I go, oh yeah, thanks. But
Very cool.
they'll send me a spot. I'm like,
that
they
happens
try.
all the time.
I think that's cool. Yeah, I think that's
People
cool. You know.
People send me articles. I'm like, okay, this is old, but I don't tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, right?
I get some shit, but it's fun. At least they give a shit, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah,
it's better.
Yeah.
So what part of Massachusetts did you grow up in, man? Southern?
Oh God, let's see. I lived in Southbridge, Massachusetts. I lived in Charlton, Worcester. I used to live in Connecticut with my brother for a while, Colchester, Connecticut. So you know what that place is like, Adam. There's woods everywhere. No matter where you are in New England, there's just woods as far as the eye can see.
Unless you go like downtown Boston, or like Hartford, Connecticut. Other than that, and even there's more trees than there is probably New York. But dude, New England loves its in history and trees. In Connecticut, or even would you say Worcester? Worcester's like an old school historical type town. No shit. So you ever do Plymouth Rock or anything while you were out there for the fuck of it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Plymouth Rock was something I went to with my family all the time, dude. It was just like a regular visit for me.
Oh, that's dope. So that's cool. So this has been in your blood and family, all this shit, dude. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you grew up on movies. My buddy's a big Creature of the Black Lagoon fan. I'm a big Jason Voorhees fan. Yeah.
God, I love the Gillman, dude. The Gillman is like my favorite. I hold him to my heart, dude.
Yeah. I was saying, what's your all-time favorite if you had to pick one? Is it Frankenstein? Is it really Creature?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I fell in love with the Creature. The first time I saw that movie, I think I was like 5 years old. And I just instantly, dude, that was it. That was my monster right there. And I was like, oh, Gillman. So.
Oh, that's killer. When the chick's swimming in the water and he's underneath her and she's just swimming with a white shirt. And he's like,
yeah, they actually thought that scene was pornographic back in the 50s when it first came out.
I fucking believe it. I believe that.
They cut a lot out of it. They cut so much out of that scene because they felt that the underwater ballet was too erotic. It was almost pornographic for the time.
Yeah.
But now WAP wins Music of the Year awards. You tell me how far we've come.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Gillman, I'm such a big fan of Gillman. I did a sculpture of him that I have to finish up. So as an artist, if you want, I can show it to you. I can grab it real quick.
Yeah, grab it because I want to ask Joe what Joe's old school movie guy is. I have to say for me, Joe, it's probably going to be fucking The Wolfman. I watched The Wolfman so many times.
That's what I was going to say.
We're in the woods and it's black and white. And you get the gypsy. Go, show me your hand. A satanic star shows up on his hand.
He's missing an arm at this point, but
he done battle.
Here's an idea of how big he is.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good 3 feet. 2.5, 3 feet. Yeah, I love his hand.
Yeah.
Mitt.
Oh yeah, I love that webbing. That's badass.
I don't know how well you can see it, but it's really well textured.
Good right there.
Does he stand up on a platform? Or can he stand up on his own? Does he get like a?
He's gonna have a base. I'm gonna create a base for him where there's artificial water around him.
Oh, dude, nice. He's bigger than your head. That's sick. Yeah, that's a nice big one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good size.
So you must.
Mine was the Wolfman. That was my favorite.
Yes, it was too.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, when he goes to the store and then the gypsy and then just the wood scene and he comes around the bush, the tree, it's the black and whites, man. I don't give a shit what kids say. That's where it's at. Nosferatu, fucking
Agreed.
Bride of Frankenstein,
actually,
Phantom of the Opera.
But I want because I'm in printing, so I do like posters and stuff. So I want to do a poster of like all the old school monsters: Frankenstein, Dracula, the Invisible Man,
Mummy.
Yeah, the Mummy. I want to put them up.
Pictures, Joe. I got plenty of pictures for you.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, did these creatures come from cryptids in the past, everything's based on reality. Stephen King will tell you that. To an extent, it came off an idea from something. So the Wolfman didn't really come from the wolf lore like they believe in fucking Europe. And look at the Mexican kid that had the fur on his face. You know, I mean,
right.
But it makes me wonder about Spielberg, about how much stuff he knows. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right on top of the aliens, the government admits there's aliens now. Oh yeah, there is an Area 51. You cocksucking liars! For 30 years, you told us no. Our government don't lie to us.
I mean, Stephen King grew up in Maine, so he heard tales of the Wendigo.
Right.
You know, he grew up on that stuff, so I'm sure he does believe in it.
Look at Cujo. There's a devil dog. Rottweiler. That's or Saint Bernard or Rottweiler. It was a
Saint Bernard.
Yeah. It ate license plates and people. Killer canines, man. Where do you stand on snakes and shit, Ryan? Do you believe in big boa constrictor type things and shit like?
I definitely think that's the mega boa. Yeah, I think they're definitely a possibility. I mean, they probably don't live here in the States, but deep in the jungles, I definitely think they could be out there. I wouldn't want to see one, but I think they're out there.
Rainforest and shit like that.
Even in the Everglades, they got some huge ones in the Everglades.
Yeah, well, you got to remember in the Everglades, though, they're intrusive. They don't belong there.
Right.
So the pythons are really wreaking havoc with crocodiles and stuff down in the Everglades.
Yeah.
There's a prehistoric battle. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an invasive species. They didn't belong there. They weren't originally from there. So the people that let these things out, it really screwed up the environment.
Yeah, it's
screwed up pretty bad. Very well, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Brian says, great show, everybody. I'm loving the show, man. Brian's good shit. Brian does old, what is it? I'm trying, shit, I should know this, but I'm pretty stoned. Old Town Adventures. It's basically old. He lives out in like Nevada and does like the old Wild West type shit, looking for wild.
Oh, nice.
Small Town Adventures. So that's
Brian,
what he does.
You should head out to Arizona. Head out to Arizona, Brian. We have old Tucson over here.
Shit. There you go, Brian. Brian's a good supporter. He rolls with the Searchers, Shane Pittman and them, but he does his own shit too. And he likes all my shit. He shares stuff. He's a good dude to have on your side. So thanks for tuning in so much, everybody. Brian, all the great questions, dude. Hey, I got to ask you, Ryan, what's your number one American and number one anywhere but America bucket list?
Okay, well, for non-America, I want to go to Japan. I absolutely have to go to Japan just because I love Godzilla so much. I got to stomp around the streets of Japan and kind of pull a Godzilla imitation, chase some people down the street, maybe
there's shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere, merchandise. Right. And
go to Tokyo Bay and just, randomly ask some stranger, so when does Godzilla show up? Just see what they do.
Put on a dinosaur suit and get in the water and come up from Tokyo.
Right. You see, the thing is, though, if they start firing at me, I'm like, yo, man, come on. It's a prank, dude.
Fucking helicopters and planes.
I want to go to Canada, though. I want to go to Canada, and I actually want to spend a great deal of time out in the wilderness doing both Bigfoot and Wendigo research. I want to spend the time out in the snow in a cabin, just myself and my dog, and maybe Ashley if she'll go, and just really immerse myself in some really, really deep research and see what happens.
Fucking A, Joe. You don't hear Canada much, do you? As a place that want to go?
Oh yeah. I got a lot of friends in Canada, and I keep.
Oh, they get the polar bear, or they get the abominable snowman up there too. I believe in that. They have the white Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. They get Chinosqua up in Canada too.
Yeah, narwhals, right? The fucking those are crazy. Mm-hmm. Those are cryptids, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Canada is actually one of the best places to spot a UFO. Also.
Yeah. That's what I say.
Yeah, Ben, I got friends in Canada. They send me stuff all the time. I got so much. It's pretty cool.
Well, my family's Canadian, so I have to go up there. That's home turf for us.
Okay, there you go. Cool. Well, tell us what you got coming up for yourself, Ryan. You got any trips planned, or any investigations, or any research trips?
I don't have any trips planned right away. I'm actually facing medical surgery here in the future, but I host a show. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Adam. I host a show with Ashley, and we're always doing that. And she and I are always running the circuit, doing guest spots. And what I'll be doing is just, digging deeper into the Wendigo, the Yi Nararushi, the Gugwi. And I always post articles. So if people want to learn stuff and read stuff, add me on Facebook, and you could read my research firsthand.
Yeah, what's the name of your show?
It's Monster Radio. And it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube and other platforms, but we upload.
Subscribing as soon as this show's done, brother. I gotta check out some shit. Reminds me of Monster Squad. Reminds me of the old Monster Squad movie. It is, yeah. So but you got a regular show like on Facebook, and then it goes to YouTube.
No, it goes on YouTube first, then it goes to like Spreaker and all those other places. Ashley can tell you all the places it goes to. But we upload every Sunday. We record every Wednesday. In fact, we got a new episode coming up this Wednesday. It's the Flatwoods Monster.
She mentioned that, in the comments. That's
Yeah.
killer.
Yeah, that'd be cool,
I brought him up too. What are the odds of that? I got the Dover Demon and I brought the Flatwoods. Both guys. Man, we're brothers from a different cloth, Brian. We gotta fucking.
Yes, we are, man. We're gonna have to stay in touch, dude. We just did an episode on the Lizard Man Escape or Swamp. So
nice, dude.
That's something to look into. That's a very, very interesting episode, and we did a really good job on that.
Yeah,
now
so
it'll be up soon on YouTube.
Radio on
it's already up. It's already over there, so you can cruise on over to the channel, Adam, and you can check out our 9 episodes. I think it is. We're coming up on episode 10, I believe.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, tell everyone where they can find your stuff at, Adam.
Oh, I just want to say thanks so much for coming on. I'm sorry I talk a lot, but you know what to expect, Joe. So you fucking A. Because I do my own show. I got my own show every Friday night on Paranormal King Radio Network. We reach about 4 countries. Ross Rapazzo is my boss. Historically Haunted Show. It's live every Friday. I talk to everybody from Tony Spera to UFO Fred to I try to get Lauren Coleman on, but I might get Nate on. Lauren's kind of feeling not that good. So I try to get as much as I can on, and that's every Friday, and that's audio only, but that goes up. And then I got my Historically Haunted vodcast every Tuesday from 7 to 8. I do that myself. Sometimes I go solo and just talk. As you can tell, I'm good at it. Or I think I am anyway. And then I got my YouTube channel, Adam the Historian Ghost Hunter, man. I'm almost at 100 followers, 96. I just went to, like I said, past Stephen King stuff. Went to a cemetery in the middle of the woods and shit like that. So, check that shit out. And, well,
I'm subscribing once your show's over, man. I'm jumping over to your channel and subscribing. So,
same. Fucking Joe never gets a bad guest. Joe doesn't have any bad friends. Every time Joe's got someone on and I get a friend request, I go, or I send that out, I go, he's got a great people. You surround yourself with great people, Joe. You know that.
Yeah, I try to, man. And like I said, you're one of the best guys out there, man. You really are. You're one of the best guys out there. You're one of the most genuine guys out there, and that's what I love about you. It means a lot,
dude.
Yeah,
I don't want to be a kiss ass, I don't want to, I like to smoke weed. I like to swear a little bit. I watch wrestling, and I'm a big boy, and I'm not a kiss ass, man. I ain't shaving my beard. If they don't like me, don't watch me. Fuck them. I'm not a pretty boy. So I do my thing, and I just don't give a fuck. And it seems people seem to like it. I do get blocked a lot, but people seem to like it too, though. So it's 50-50.
There you go.
But I draw the right people, like Ryan and Joe. I draw the people that are down to earth. You guys are my kin. You guys are like fucking. Joe knows that. And Ryan, I just sent you a friend request before the show, but now talking to you, dude, fucking, I'm jazzed to look through your shit. So.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, if you want me to, I can send the articles right to you, Adam. I always write up these really, really, really long articles.
I love it,
man. I did a Skinwalker article not too long back, and people were calling it a work of art. So,
Cool, wow. Man. Yeah, you come down to my area. We got to do a small convention or something because people need to know you, man. You're fucking amazing. Joe's amazing.
Thank you.
And I got to have you and your girlfriend on my vodcast because it's visual. It can have anybody. It's like it is now. I can even have Joe come on. Who gives a shit? And but the audio thing can only be one at a time. Friday night. It's on the phone. So, but anyway, fucking Beyond the Woodline podcast is one of my favorite shows ever. I met Big Dog through him from Big Dog's Random Show. Got a shirt. And Joe's one of the good ones, man. He likes shit. He shares shit, and he doesn't have ever a negative comment. If he does, he keeps it to himself.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. You're a good guy, man. A lot of man love in this room.
That's right. A lot of bromance going on.
Yep.
But dude, man, I gotta have you on again, Ryan. So much more to ask you.
Absolutely, anytime, Joe.
You go 4 hours with this fucking college. Jesus Christ.
I love that about you, man. But
thank you.
We're coming up on our hour here, and I gotta give me some dinner, and then I gotta have me a real smoke and call it a night, guys.
All right. Well, hey, man, it was a pleasure coming on and talking to you guys. You guys are awesome, man.
Chat room, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
So you ever want me back on, just let me know.
I'll be on tomorrow night also. And then in the next coming days, I'll have Big Dog on as a guest host. And I actually will have Shannon back as a guest host, who was originally a guest host. But
awesome.
Cool, man.
All right. Fun, guys. I appreciate your time and your friendship, bro.
Thank you, man. Hey, love you, Adam.